Yes, hello mga troopers and friends, and welcome once again to my channel, Ni Rey. And if you're new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe and please hit the notification bell so you'll be updated and you'll be notified for new videos that I upload on my channel. Actually, this is going to be my first ever sit-down vlog, and it's actually a very fresh topic on my channel because this is a little bit political. Because most of my contents are about travel and lifestyle, but I think we need to also consider this topic because this relates to as many Filipinos living in our country. Because this concerns about the political and the economic situation of the Philippines.
This is Ni Rey, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, mega troopers and friends, and we're back. So we still have 7 more topics before we finally close this vlog. My first ever sit-down vlog. Now let's proceed to the topic about the Metro Manila traffic. So according to the President, we are losing about 3.5 billion pesos every day because of the worsening traffic in the metro. And if you try to compute that in 30 days in a month, that would be about 135 billion peso in losses for the Philippine government because of this huge traffic in Manila. Imagine we can have plenty of problems out of this more or less 135 billion pesos of money if we don't lose this because of the traffic in Manila. So we need to really solve that problem as soon as possible. So that's why the President is calling the MMDA or the Metro Manila Metro Manila Development Authority, the MMDA, to reclaim all public roads which are being utilized by private individuals. So we see in some streets of Manila they are using the public roads for parking, and actually some are trying to do business along the roads, which is actually not supposedly allowed because that's intended for the public to use, and that's for for the pedestrian, for the traffic. And yes, the President is once again calling the attention of Secretary Anyo of the DILG to suspend mayors who will not implement this directive and this instruction from the President. So we Filipinos are rice eaters. Like rice is a staple for the whole Philippines, and I think majority of Asia. And since we are having a very critical issue on rice production in our country, actually we try to import some of our rice from Thailand. Because of the shortage, we can't seem to supply the demand of our country, and we experience the worst effects of the El Nino, which damage a lot of crops in our country. That's why the President is trying to emphasize as well on the issue of on this issue. So we have to also be concerned on our rice and cocoa farming in the country. That's why the President also wants to implement the rice tariffication law, and he also talked about the COCO levy fund, which is it's mentioned 100 million. I'm not sure if it's in pesos or in dollars, but he talked about 100 million from the COCO levy fund, which is not being utilized. And so this is going to be according to the President, that instead of using this fund, he wants to just invest it and put it in a trust fund, so it will grow bigger. And then he mentioned about actually it was like a warning to the Land Bank of the Philippines, the LBP, because the Land Bank of the Philippines was actually created to serve the needs of our agriculture in the country. But unfortunately, LBP is more positioned now to serve the commercial sector, the commercial establishments. They're trying to become the #1 commercial bank in the country instead of serving the needs of our agricultural sector. So the president is directing the LBP, the Land Bank of the Philippines, to go to the countryside and check the actual needs of our farmers. So he's actually giving them a timeline. The end of July, they need to present him a plan, a clear plan on how to properly serve our agricultural sector. So he said that the funds that we have with the Land Bank of the Philippines should be used to assist the needs of our farmers, because that is very important for an agricultural country like the Philippines. So next is about the topic of our national security. That's why the president wants to have the National Defense Act and the Unified Military and Uniformed Personnel Separation, pension bill, and the mandatory ROTC training for senior high school students. That's grades 11 and 12. So for us to be prepared prepare for war, we have to prepare our citizens as well to fight for the Philippines. So sabi ng presidente that if there's war, there's gonna be war. 10 out of 10 Filipinos hindi kayang gumamit ng baril, especially the young people. So you can't even defend your family, your parents, because we're not prepared for that and we are not trained for war. So next up is on the MSMEs. So if you are leaned towards doing business like myself, so this is very important for us, for MSMEs. What does that mean? That's for micro, small, and medium enterprises. So actually, the MSMEs are small-sized entities defined in terms of their investment. So the president, even in the first half of his term, he's actually trying to provide more benefits and more ways for these MSMEs to access funds from the government, to ask for assistance in their business. Because I know I've experienced it a lot, that it's not easy to do business, like especially if it's coming out of your own pocket and you don't have major investors to fund your investment and your business. So it's very important that we have this program in our government. And next is on the issue that the president is getting several or previously military, serving in the military. So we see some of his cabinet members are actually former military personnel. According to the president, he likes to select former military men because it's easy to give them instructions. Parang madali lang na nakukuha yung gusto niya, yung nasusunod yung mga iniutos ng presidente. So it's like what happened to Boracay. He sent Secretary Simato, who is an ex-military, to clean up Boracay and to make sure that it's restored back to its more pristine state. So it was done. It was considered done. Kasi yun nga, the secretary that he put on the Department of Environment and Natural Resources is an ex-military man in the person of Secretary Roy Simato. And yes, in relation to the Boracay closure, because the president wanted to clean it up and to make sure that there are no structures violating the environmental laws and the easement. It talks about the salvage zone, because actually you are not allowed to put up permanent structures within 20 meters of from the high tide. Actually, that's the salvage zone area in properties facing the ocean. And I know that several establishments are violating this, and it needs willpower and political will for the LGUs to really implement this law. And I'm sure, according to the president, it is a billion peso business, because you know, if you are an establishment or you are creating structures within this zone, I know you spent a lot of money to create these structures, and if you try to tear it down and remove these structures, it's going to be a loss on your part as the businessman. But again, since you are violating a law, this is going to be difficult for you. Next, on the issue of, you know, putting up a gambling casino in the Nayong Filipino. So actually the president was angry about it, because why would you put a casino inside a Nayong Filipino? It doesn't make sense at all, and that is why the president is against it. Like what the previous presidencies of President Marcos and Estrada, they were also not in favor of putting a casino with a Nayong Filipino, and also there was no bidding conducted. So the president made mention about that during his sona. So I guess my achievers, those are the major highlights during the sona of the president. And yes, he's about to end his sona, and he said that there's time for everything, and you know, there's time to quarrel, there's time to make peace, and there's time to go to war. There's also time to live and time to die. So for him, these next 3 years, actually this is the second half of his 6-year term, because he already consumed like 3 years of his term, right? This is going to be a period of consequences. That means that what he did for the first half of his term, the reaction would all happen and would all result during the second half of his term. That's why he called it as the period of consequences. And according to the president, he will assume responsibility for all his actions in the past 3 years, and he will not blame anyone for it. So regardless of what happened in the past, according to him, he cannot afford to squander the future of the many Filipinos. Although in one point of his sona, he said that he's quite tired during his presidency, and he would welcome a coup d'etat anytime. But I think that was quite a joke, as only yes, personally I do believe that there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and you know, we hope that the remaining 3 years of his presidency, there's going to be a better life for all of us in the Philippines. Yes, the president's ultimate goal for the next 3 years is to offer more comfortable life for all the Filipinos, and he dreamed of glowing days ahead for every Filipino. That is his pledge and his commitment to serve and protect the Filipinos. So he said, and he ended his sona with these lines: God bless the Filipino, and God bless the Philippines. Yes, my Agatribers and friends, thank you for watching the video as well. I hope that you learned something from me today. And yes, please click on subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and kindly hit the notification bell so you'll be updated of the new videos that I upload on my channel. Yes, this has been Ni Rey. Thanks for watching. Bye.
This is Ni Rey, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.